like that. The logo has been dropped.
See?
Gee, you did. You turned to the green room again. I can't believe this. Try it again. Stop turning to the green room.
Why is it wrong? They got to come from somewhere. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to the Goose. It is Memorial Day weekend.
It is. He's Coach Lee. I'm Coach Chris.
Good to see you again.
Good to be
We
seen.
are on episode 6, Epi 6.
I've lost count.
I know. Well, that's why I'm here. You've got the looks, and
Well, let's not.
I've got notes.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, let's not stretch it.
Right? So let me get the timer going, because, well,
While you're doing that,
Lo and behold.
I'm just going to let the audience know that today we have Coach Pags,
Yep,
physical fitness trainer, certified,
certified.
working the gym upstairs here at Goose Pond University. And he's going to talk today about training.
And lots of it.
Lots of it, different areas of it.
Had you seen the original version that we taped, I think you'll find it the best episode we've done yet when it comes to taking care of our kids. I think so.
It was a good episode, but we got to stop telling people that these things are taking 6 and 7 takes. Hey, zip it in the green room over there, will you? Damn. Oh, see, Spanish.
Yeah, there you go again. We might have to do an 8th take now.
No, we'll be good. We're good. Let's bring him in.
All right, so come on in.
Let's get this show started.
Come on in. Got a little broccoli dripping from you.
It's for my second lunch.
Right?
Dude, you said you could wear that.
I did.
He brought it back.
And yeah.
Did you wear it at all this weekend in
It
Pride?
still smells like North Woods.
Yeah, like pine.
Yeah.
Do you hang it from your rearview mirror?
No, I don't, but I should. That's a good idea.
That's pretty good,
They're
isn't it?
Christmas colors, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't know. Loud and proud.
I'm proud. Well, you know, he's got the
I remember-
Incredibles logo, and I always wear the Bruins. So.
I remember when they did a vote for the state for the logo when the team was coming, and I did not vote for this. There was another one.
Yeah.
Something else. I don't remember what it was. It was like a wolf or something.
Well, one thing's for certain, you don't know how to draw it.
Me? No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No.
That's a funny story. He tried to draw this logo at center ice.
Really?
On the
Yeah, because he had a
synthetic
Boston
ice,
logo.
and it turned out to look like a snake.
It looked. I don't know what it looked like. It wasn't. It wasn't
Yeah.
pretty.
It looked like a forest that had been ransacked.
Yeah, something like that.
It
Yes.
looked like a viper.
Nice.
Kids coming and going, that's what the Viper logo at the center ice saying.
They said?
It's Coach Pags, Minnesota Wild.
Well, and why are you wearing the Minnesota Wild?
Because I am from Minnesota, born and raised. I was born in 1986.
We talked
You
about
guys
that.
feel, nice and
86.
making you guys feel nice
Who's
and old,
who's
right?
ringing?
I think that's me, just vibrating.
All right.
So let's
Well,
get on the
stop
butt.
vibrating because we're losing track here.
So yeah, born and raised. I grew up in Minnesota. I played hockey before I could walk, pretty much. 'Cause that's
Doesn't everybody?
how it happens. At least in Minnesota.
It's a suburb.
Boston,
it's a
maybe.
suburb of Canada, right?
So, pretty much. Yeah, it's a little extension that comes down.
Right.
Yeah, but we like to keep it separate though.
Don't you know?
Yeah, you betcha. So, I played high school hockey as well, and I'm a goaltender. I still play.
All right.
And I was
MVPer?
So I was all state my senior year, and I was the captain of the team my senior year as well. So,
Explain to me what hockey is like for the finals of high school hockey.
so my team never made it to state. What do they call it? The tourney. The kids call it the tourney nowadays. But so I never made it.
Because of you?
I made it to state. Yeah, maybe. We made it to state in Bantams. So we did make it
insult the
to
coach
state in the
there.
Bantams. We lose a lot of kids. In high school, we lose a lot of kids to private schools and junior hockey. So we had a few guys that left, but the tourney itself, the state tournament, is pretty much unrivaled for definitely hockey high school.
You're sold out of every
tournaments.
game for like a week.
Yeah, they fill up.
20,000 people at.
Yep, at the Excel Energy Center, which is where the Wild play, and it sells out for sure. I mean, there's thousands of people there watching teams that they're
It's
not
a
even
state
cheering
holiday.
for. It really is.
Yeah.
So that's what do they call it? Hockey Day in Minnesota is almost like a holiday in Minnesota.
Right.
I think that's another day that they play outdoor hockey games for the
I've
high
been to
school
the Excel
stuff,
Center.
but
I was up there for USA hockey training. Unbelievable, gorgeous arena.
it is.
100% dedicated to high school hockey.
Yep.
I mean, there's high school hockey jerseys
Jerseys.
plastered all over the
Yeah,
place.
they pretty much go all the way around, at least
Every
a quarter
suite.
of the rink.
Above the suite door
Yeah. Yep.
has a framed high school hockey jersey. And when you're in the concave, the area at the top of the seating area, it's like somebody's living room. It's like a lodge.
Yeah, it's a lodge. It's got the
unbelievable.
North Woods
It's
theme
probably the
to it.
most
It's really cool.
Beautiful arena I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is really
that's-
cool.
Well, we have a lot
So-
to learn down here in Florida, and the fact is we have high school hockey here now,
A lot
and
of it. I was
and a
surprised.
lot of it.
Yep.
So what are you doing upstairs? Talk to me about what.
So, do you want to start with the story? How I found it first?
Yes,
you-
yeah, absolutely.
Alright.
That's a great
You can do
story.
that, and then get into how you became a physical trainer.
Yeah, so I did the mystical search that I have to call it. Everybody searches for this place because it doesn't actually exist. At least electronically, it doesn't exist.
Right.
It's a virtual.
So yeah, so I was searching for a gym that I could kind of start working at. Really, I didn't expect to kind of run my own gym, but that's what I wanted. And so I had heard all over the hockey rinks about this Goose Pond place and university, and you think it's a school and you're not really sure what it is.
Nobody
So-
knows exactly what it is.
No, until you get here. So I Googled it, and just a pin on the map showed up, just this little
Right.
pin. And I was like, that's really weird. It's in a business park. It's not an actual like building, or I wasn't really sure. So I was like, I'll just drive and show up. So I got here one day, and the sign was on the door, so I knew it was the right door. I came in, and there was some lady working here. There was nobody in the building. It was the middle of the day, and she
Maybe
was like,
Howard.
well, Coach Chris isn't here right now, but I'll have him call you back. And I think Chris called me back probably the same day, maybe next day.
He's
And
pretty prompt with that. You military guys are like that.
Brilliant.
And thank you, by the way, for your support
Yeah.
and everything
You're
you've done for our country.
yeah, we'll get
We
into
are
that a
forever
little
humbled.
bit too. I have a thing about that, but yeah. So he called me back. I came in and I said, this is who I am. This is what I'm looking to do. And Coach Chris was like, follow me upstairs. So he took me upstairs, and there was 1,000 square feet of gym, really. And he said, as far as I'm concerned, you can run it how you want, and the rest is history now. It's been
Right.
over a year.
So you had a blank canvas to
Yeah.
create a program
Yep.
that would be beneficial for, because are you specializing in hockey, or is it CrossFit in general?
For the most
Yes
part.
and no,
So
or
it's
both?
it's kind of a hybrid now. So I guess that kind of brings me into my background first. So I got originally in 2009. I got certified through National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is considered, or the professionals call it NASM. And I started as a personal trainer, LA Fitness, and I knew I wanted to do athlete training, strength and conditioning. And so I got another certification through NASM called the Performance Enhancement Specialist. That was in 2010. And I was soon thereafter the strength coach for my old high school hockey team and the lacrosse team as well, because I played lacrosse also.
Right.
And
So you were a multi-sport athlete.
I was the captain of my lacrosse team, All-State, honorable mention. And in fact, I got invited to play at University of Minnesota Duluth for lacrosse, but I chose to play hockey instead. So
Don't blame me there.
So yeah, and so I was the strength coach for them for about a year, and that was in 2010, 2011, and then 2012 I joined the United States Coast Guard, active duty, and I planned when I joined to go to helicopter rescue swimmer school. So the training for that is another full-time job on top of being in the Coast Guard. So I kind of had to put training on the side, but while I put training on the side, I learned a whole kind of another set of tools as far as training, and it was the mental side of
Completely overlooked, right?
100%. Yeah, I watched you guys' other episode with Chris Palmer.
Yeah, Chris Palmer.
That was really
Yeah.
good, and he is 100% right. Like, hits the nail on the head with the mental training. It's more important than anything physical, and I learned that when I went to helicopter rescue swimmer school in 2014. It's kind of the Coast Guard's version of Special Operations School. The program originally, like in the 80s, came from the Naval Dive School, which is one of Navy's Special Operations schools. So the training itself is by far the hardest thing that a human body will go through. So
Right.
it becomes
And mentally,
mental.
I would imagine.
It becomes mental. That's just that your body physically is broken, and if you can't mentally get through it, you won't get through it. So
Right.
that was in 14, and so probably about 2016, I guess, when I got here, stationed here in Florida, I started kind of wanting to get back into training.
Right. Now the Coast Guard has a hockey team.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, there's a lot. So I am the Southeast region's kind of hockey manager, I guess, if you will.
That's
Liaison.
yes. That means unpaid.
So, oh yes, very much.
I played on that team.
Yeah. Coach Chris was on one of the teams. We had a tournament here in Wesley Chapel, and it was a first responders tournament. So only first responders can play. And
needless to say, we needed some first responders by the end of the first game.
oh yes, we did. It was brutal. It was fun, but we were playing in a division that we should not have been in.
Right.
And so anyway, it is really fun. And so I travel quite a bit. I go to Massachusetts. I try and go every year. and there's tournaments in the Carolinas and stuff like that. So I put together a Coast Guard team, and most of the guys on it are either active duty or reserve Coast Guard.
Gotcha. So let's fast forward to today, and the reason why we're talking is to talk about single sport, or meaning, in Florida we're playing hockey pretty much year round, right? That's our little community, and I think that puts us at a risk for potential injury,
A high risk.
a heightened
Injuries
risk,
is going to happen.
Yep.
right? And so what do we do, and how do we handle CrossFit, and then how do we work through the conditioning aspect of it to keep our kids safe?
Yeah, and so you're right. There's the single sport athletes, and then there's the multi-sport athletes. And so I have kind of a hybrid program upstairs that brings in elements of CrossFit and elements of my old athletic specific, sport specific training, because there are pieces of CrossFit that are really beneficial, and then there are pieces of CrossFit that aren't so beneficial for hockey specifically. So I have my CrossFit Level 1 training certification, so there's a lot of pieces that are really, really good about CrossFit for sports, for athletic performance. And and I say athletic performance and not hockey, because CrossFit is obviously not a hockey-specific training program or philosophy methodology.
But a lot of the elite athletes are tapping into this and the yoga side of it.
And that brings me kind of to the next point. As kids, as the youth, they need to become an athlete with very functional and foundational levels of athleticism before they can start specifically doing hockey specific, weightlifting and stuff like that, because they're, I like to say it's very much like a mechanic or a doctor. Like a mechanic has to learn very basic maintenance before they can start working on BMWs and Mercedes.
Permission to make an analogy?
Yeah, please.
Got to change the oil before you can work on the engine, right?
There you go. Yeah.
You got to start somewhere.
It's exactly. You got to start somewhere.
Or you go perhaps before the BMW.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
got
we're
a
getting
history,
this.
sure.
We're getting this down.
You going with that one?
So where I'm going with it is, imagine driving in a car with a football player that was 6'4", about 270, and me being 5'11", 215 in a Yugo, driving on Interstate 80 going through Iowa.
Yeah, small.
That was it was a comfortable fit with no air conditioning, because we were
probably felt like you were driving like that.
Oh yeah, we were. I mean, yeah, the car leaned towards Tim Oker. I hope you're doing great out there. Maybe you'll find this someday and you'll laugh too. In any case, yeah, that's my
yeah. So I do. I bring in aspects of CrossFit and because CrossFit is very much about the foundational and functional movements of the human body, and that's what these kids need. And whether it's hockey specific or sports specific or not, these are basic movements that the human body needs to be able to do.
And you were injured. I mean, you're a goalie, right? And you've been battling injury, or maybe the ramifications of being a goalie.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and the hips for sure. So, I was introduced to a podcast by Glenn Murphy, who you guys are probably going to have here pretty soon.
He's coming up.
Yep, great goalie coach. And he introduced me to a podcast that was from Ingle Mag, is the name of the company or the website. And it was a strength coach from somewhere. I can't remember if it was a specific team, but he's very much cutting edge with all of the new things that are going on, statistics, the way they train, how they train, why they train. And he brought out an extremely mind-blowing statistic that 33%, and these are goalies, I think the statistic was kind of only goalies, but skaters were kind of included in it. But for goaltenders, 33% of...
And active ones, meaning travel.
Yeah, it's a good piece. So there were elite level goalies, so I would say for Florida, probably like AA and up, and these are kids that started hockey when they were probably like squirts. So elite level players that started when they were squirts, 33% of the goalies had signs and symptoms of some kind of hip disease. So like early onset arthritis. FAI is a popular one for goaltenders. It's femoral acetabular impingement, and it's just an impingement of the bone in the joint because of all the wear and tear that the butterfly specifically causes. And so I have FAI myself, and some arthritis that's already showing signs in both hips, and then torn labrums is another really popular one. And so 33% of Pee Wee level goalies will show signs and symptoms. 66% of Bantam level goalies will show signs and symptoms. And post high school, I think the percentage was probably near 100. Almost every goalie at an elite level that has been playing since they were squirts will show signs and symptoms. And some of these signs and symptoms will be very subtle. They may not even know. It starts with like one symptom would be like a clicking hip when you're doing like a flutter kick or something.
I was talking to Delaney over the weekend after we did our first run at this. And I'm like, Delaney, you mentioned the clicking hip before. She goes, yeah, I actually talked to Coach Peggs about it.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, and that can be a couple of things. It could be a sign or symptom of some kind of hip thing. It could just be that her mind doesn't know how to engage certain muscles, and that specifically is what I like to teach the kids, is that those basic movements and engagements that you need to have, and the brain is what controls the muscles. So you need to train your brain, not just like lifting weights. You need to have your brain contracting and engaging the right muscles.
Well, what was funny was it even continued to where she's like, yeah, she goes, I even learned how to squat correctly, to do a squat. And then she's like, ow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So that full, the things that you're promoting is that full range of motion. And get into that a little bit about hockey muscles and non-hockey muscles.
You got a player that comes in, right? He's a regular player, high level, whatever. He's on the ice 5 times a week. Comes into you and he's brand new to you. What do you do?
He's brand new. So first thing I would do is an assessment. So I need to find out where they are at their fitness level, and I also need to find out if they have any imbalances. So I need to find out if they've had any prior injuries, or if they have any weaknesses in certain muscles. You'd be surprised at how often kids come in 12, 13 years old, and they're way more dominant on one side than the other. And so their right leg may be doing way more work than their left leg, and they have no idea.
Right.
And that, in time, becomes a huge problem. So especially with hockey, because pretty much the whole time, if you think about skating and striding, you're always on one leg or the other at a time. Rarely are you ever on 2 legs doing one thing, except for maybe a turn here and there.
Right.
But when you're hitting somebody, more than likely you don't have 2 skates on the ice. When you're stick handling, skating, you know what I mean? So you're always on one leg. So if you get that weak leg in a bad position, it's kind of game over. All sorts of injuries can happen.
And that's why in my training down here, we'll work both sides of the sheet, to work both sets of edges, to work both sets of legs.
And you see it too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Because everybody's got a weak side.
Of course, everybody. But the goal is to
eliminate,
to kind of try and narrow that gap between the weak side, strong side, and injury prevention is kind of the biggest thing. So the athlete will come in, and I'll find out if he has any injuries currently, and then next, if he doesn't, that's good. I won't have to correct anything. And then next will be any faults. So I'll find out if he's stronger on one side or the other in certain things. And then if he doesn't really have any concerning factors, then I can start into his kind of a normal athletic ability assessment. And I just do a baseline. There's a whole bunch of different workouts that I give them, and a whole bunch of different individual movements as well.
And you even mentioned Instagram, or that you're sending out lessons.
It's Insta-chat.
And
then it's Snapgram.
Right.
MySpace, FaceSpace.
There you go, nailed it.
Right.
He nailed it.
I'm up on this stuff.
Yeah.
I think the new one's called TikTok.
There you go. I got that one. I'm not on TikTok.
You should be.
Can't.
Everyone else is.
I know. I'm getting there. We'll see. Someday maybe. But Instagram. Coach_Pegs_fitness.
There you go. That was a shameless plug.
So
gratefully to do so.
There's a lot of good content on there.
Absolutely.
I was just looking at it today.
Yeah, I love. So my favorite part about it is I get to post videos and pictures of the athletes up there.
Right.
I hang their jerseys on the wall, and so I think the kids really like that. They like they kind of the group feeling, and they like seeing their friends' jerseys on the wall. They like seeing their jerseys on the wall.
Sure.
They like seeing, who doesn't want to be on somebody else's social media account?
I'd be happy to be on anyone's wall.
Yeah.
I might also add that Mr. Pags is quite ripped himself. There's a few pictures of you on there.
I try. I mean, I have to. You have to walk the walk if I'm going to be a strength coach.
You do not want me being your strength coach at the moment, right? So
I mean, that would be entertaining.
It would certainly. I
Watch it.
think it'd be entertaining for all of us. I will tell you what. I'll do this because, we're doing this for the kids and for the development. I will be more than happy if willing, if you're allowing. We talked about maybe getting some of the kids up there and recording some baselines and how you go through the assessment. If you can get my kids to do it, I'll do it with, and then we'll do a program together.
Yeah, of course.
We'll do a little mobile podcast from upstairs.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Because I'm not happy with where I'm at right now. That's I'd like to be around another 20 years.
I think if you ask anybody, I guarantee no one is going to say I am 100% happy with where I am. More than likely. So join everybody else. So
okay.
All that there is to do from there is just do it.
Right. What about so you're in season? We talked about the NHL, the elite athletes. Mm-hmm. It's not necessary for a hockey player when you're playing all the time to be doing hockey workouts, right? I mean, that's kind of bad.
Yeah. So that podcast that I talked about also highlighted the importance that like professional level athletes are actually not doing hockey specific training outside of their games and their practices because of you think about the intensity level that they have to perform at every single day. It has to be 100%. They're professional athletes. They don't perform, they don't play. And so that intensity is an everyday thing. And then if you add on top of that high intensity workouts that are the same exact movements and motions that hockey is, it's just asking for more injuries. So their workouts in season are actually the opposite movements and much less intense than what was formerly kind of what they did formerly.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean the object I got to think when you've got that long of a season is to get through the season uninjured,
100%.
or at least minimize the injuries. Right?
100%. Because if you're injured, you can't play, and your chances of getting cut or traded or whatever, especially if you're not like a superstar athlete. If you're just a kind of a new kid coming in, we talked about the statistics. If you're a goaltender coming in, more than likely you have signs and symptoms. And if you're a young kid, early 20s, coming into the NHL or one of the higher level leagues, you more than likely already have some stuff going on. And if you get injured, that could be it.
Sure.
So like I guess my best example, my best friend growing up was Ryan Stoa, who was drafted by the Colorado Avalanche in 2005. He was a part of that 2005 draft that was massive.
Yeah, huge.
I mean, that draft was excellent. I was just reading about it the other day. But he got drafted, and he ended up playing for the Hershey Bears and their farm team. He was battling a knee injury since he was in high school, and to be honest, I think that really held him back. He played just a couple games, and then he got traded to the Capitals organization. So he played for, he played for the Lake Erie Monsters, who's the farm team for Colorado. Mm-hmm. And then the Hershey Bears was the farm team for the Capitals. And so he played with them for a while, and he's now playing in the KHL, so he's still doing really well.
Right.
But I really do think that injury that he had as a young kid really stunted.
Don't think for a second it doesn't go on a scout report that it's injury prone.
Sure.
Exactly.
Sure.
And that's the biggest thing. These kids are, they're coming into the leagues, and they're probably already have injuries, and these teams are literally investing in not damaged goods, but they know that they're going to, and it just depends on the level of injury, and they know they're going to have to spend money on correcting whatever is wrong. So, the earlier that you can catch this stuff, the earlier you can train them.
As your guy comes in here, right, and you do your baseline, okay, and then you got him right away pumping up, 200 pounds of bench press. You don't do that. Mm-mm. Bring them gradually. With a good, strong foundation.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I'll find out what their max strength is because my program is based on numbers. So let's just say their max bench press is 200 pounds. So they show me that they can bench 200 pounds one time. I will, during the workouts that I give them, I will say, today you're going to be doing 5 repetitions of 75% of your 1 rep maximum.
Right.
So a little bit of math, but they're going to be doing 75% of 200 pounds.
Okay.
So I have to know those baselines, and not only for that reason, but also when I do a reassessment, a reevaluation, and then 6 months from when they came in, I do the bench press again, and their 1 rep maximum should be 250, you know, more weight. It should be more. They should be going upward in upward
Right.
direction. So I'm not super. I rarely ever will I do max strength stuff. It's maybe once a month because they don't really need to do that.
Right. And so you got to build that foundation.
Yep.
Build the walls.
Yep. Especially when they're young. So
Can't start with the roof.
yeah. Yeah, and that's another like a myth. There's a big myth with parents saying, "Oh, well, you know, you can't start kids working out until they're older, 14, 15, 16." But
Yeah, that's
it's kind of a myth. It's kind
You know,
of,
one of the things that we were discussing with the notes is if they don't have a hockey stick in their hand, they shouldn't be doing much hockey specific exercises.
yeah.
Right.
Yep, in season for sure. Yep, it's in season.
Okay.
So yeah, we talked about the in season. You know, we didn't really touch on the off season. The off season is where all of the heavy weightlifting and really intense workouts should be. I have a kind of a pyramid that I make, and I draw on the board, and it splits up how many days a week they should be doing hockey, how many days a week they should be doing weightlifting, how many days a week they should be doing metabolic conditioning workouts, and the in-season triangle or pyramid versus the off-season pyramid is very much different. They're almost flip-flopped because the weightlifting and all that stuff, like we talked about, in-season should be turned down, and then the off-season should be turned up.
I love your stereo knob analogy here.
Yeah,
with
the rheostats.
with the mix of ratios, right?
A DJ?
Yeah. No, but it's important, right? Because the right
Very
mix.
much. Yep.
If you don't have the right mix, then no one's going to listen to you.
Yep.
Right? Or in our case, you're not going to survive.
Yeah, 100%. And they're just going to get injured, and you know, kind of as a strength coach, if you have one kid that gets injured, like it's going to happen. Hockey's a contact sport, but if you have a string of your athletes that are getting injured, and especially if they're the same injury, then that's when the question marks start coming up, red flags start coming up, and
So let's be clear. Okay, if you're going to spend all of your off-season training doing hockey-specific training, your risk of injury is going to go up.
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
Because you're overworking the same muscles that you use during the regular season.
Yep.
So you need to work other muscles.
The opposite.
Minimize the opportunity to get injuries.
Yep. So
because parents need to understand one thing: there's injuries in our game. Okay.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of training is to minimize the risk of those injuries.
Yep. Yeah. Kind of an example with hockey specific. A lot of times for kids, or it doesn't matter what age really, more than likely they have kind of a weak abdominal muscle, like a weak abdominal wall, because of the way they have to correct their chest to sit upright when they're skating. So when you relax your abdominal wall, you can sit upright higher, which then therefore contracts the lower back a lot more. But then with the hip extension and hip flexion that you have with skating, the psoas muscle, which is the largest muscle in your hip complex, one of the largest muscles you have in your body, it's definitely one of the strongest, gets really, really tight because of the skating position that you're in. So that combination will, and I suffer from it, and most skaters probably do, you will suffer from some kind of lumbar pain, which is confusing because a lot of people will have back pain and they're going to think it's their back, but really it's their psoas, which is technically a muscle that's in front, but it goes up through like underneath your ab wall into your spine, and it actually attaches to your spine. So when it gets tight, it pulls on your lumbar, and it's really common in hockey players.
So what would be a good exercise to help relieve that?
So core exercises to strengthen the ab wall is one thing, and then a lot of stretching, obviously stretching with the hips. And there's a lot of different types of stretching. So there's foam rolling, which is more like massage. There's regular stretching that you're doing. There's you can use lacrosse balls for trigger point, or there's all sorts of tools nowadays for all the trigger point massage that you can do. So loosening up the tight muscles, and then also in turn strengthening the non-active muscles. So like I said, your ab wall in skating is usually not that contracted. So definitely strengthening the core.
I think the coaches have to be everything to everyone when it comes to the team, right?
Yeah, it's tough.
And so it starts with us as far as giving good information to begin with, and then proper warm-ups, proper stretching after the game. Those are all things that we kind of need to pay attention to. One of the things that we always talk about is tying in the girls' hockey part of it. Is there anything different between the boys and the girls when it comes to development and exercising the core group? It's all the same, right?
Yeah, 100%, definitely. I mean, And as kids, in fact, a lot of girls are stronger than guys at certain
Right.
ages.
They
13.
get different hips, man.
Yeah, and the hip stuff, when it comes to like goaltenders, like the female anatomy, like they may be less susceptible to some injuries, but not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Not enough to
the butterfly is
put
just
an
an
asterisk,
unnatural
yeah.
position for whoever you are. So, no, there's not really a difference. Like I said, the strength. So, like as far as the numbers that I give them, like the weights that I give them, and how many times they're doing repetitions of the weight, that might vary a little bit. But when it comes to kids like that, no.
Okay.
Female, male, doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter too. I mean, if you're in house league, if you're a learn to skate, if you're, in travel or tournament teams and things like that. I mean, it starts like we were saying with the foundation and developing those habits so that as a younger kid you can carry that thing through. I mean, I do the same stretches when we go out for beer league as I was doing when I was 12 and 14 years old.
Yeah.
And so, it'd be nice to know that, there are things that are in place or people that like yourself that we can get a hold of and understand the significance, the importance of getting that balance in the muscle groups going, so that, when they get done playing hockey, that, they're not limping and they don't have bad knees and, to get them through that so that you can have that life, beyond the sports side of it, right?
Yep.
Sure.
Yep. 100%.
We're all fortunate to still be playing. And it'd be great
Yeah.
if our kids could have that same luxury.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, I can tell you, I'm very happy that you're upstairs, and I'm very happy that you're working with my players, my students.
welcome.
My son's enjoyed your tutelage upstairs.
Good. I'm
And,
glad.
the only thing is that the only thing that's really out there in the open is nobody knows how to say your name.
My
we call
name.
you Pags because we can't say.
Impagliazzo! In Italian. But
Did you guys get that?
Impagliazzo.
Right.
Yes,
Now I know why
the
the tagline in Instagram is the way that it is, because otherwise nobody would find you.
No, my mom was a school teacher, and so she was just Miss I, because, of course, in second grade kids, there's no way they were going to pronounce that name.
Right.
So,
So in closing out, we do Coach's Corner. We've coined the phrase now. Who was someone that was instrumental in your life that you look back and you say, this person is my role model, or this person is somebody that, really had an impact on me?
First thought, since we're talking hockey and all that, is my head coach, high school head coach. He was the physical education teacher, so he was my gym teacher, and then he also did the weightlifting classes, like electives that we had in high school, and advanced weightlifting. So I took those classes, I think, multiple times. Even though I didn't get credit in high school for it, I still did it multiple times because I enjoyed it so much. And he was a really strong guy. He was tall, competitive. I think he played for St. Cloud State, so he was a good hockey player. And Todd Kennedy. Todd Kennedy.
Okay.
He coached
you,
Kennedy
Todd.
High School. So he was an awesome guy. And he was really competitive, and so he was out there. I think the coolest part about him and the coaching that he had is he was out there with us skating. Like, he was faster than most kids. He was strong. He didn't wear any equipment. He was out there
So he walked the
checking.
walk.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of my belief when it comes to strength and conditioning. I truly think that if you're going to have a strength coach, whether you're training with me or not, I really do think the strength coach should be able to walk the walk when it comes to lifting weights. Age, it just depends, but I really do think that goes leaps and bounds for kids especially. They love having the coaches out there, and that was big for me.
Well, it helps when you're a kid yourself. Okay, us old fancy.
Yeah. Well,
it's not as easy as
I'm
you
getting there. Sometimes I feel like I'm 60. So,
Dude, you're gonna let me tell you something. When you get into 40 and 50, you're going to find things that I don't care how much education you've gone for. There's going to be stuff that hurts that you're just going to say,
it's like that.
where did that come from?
You know my son. I'm in a scrimmage against him, and I told him, I said, you come down the middle on me, I'm going to light you up.
Yeah, that's it.
He comes flying down the middle. I looked up, all I saw was the emergency room. I got out of the way. I don't want to get hit by that.
Yeah.
See?
He's big now, so can't do that anymore.
See, but that's where we differ, right? Because Delaney was in our game where this is the first time Delaney and I have played against each other in a while, right? So being the silver fox that I see her angling towards me, and you even caught wind of this, right? So she's barreling towards me, and she's out to say, Dad, I'm a hockey player, right? And right when we were about to kind of intersect, I threw the brakes on. She flew past me right into the boards, and then you claimed that I hit her.
You did, man. You two are hip
He
on
probably
it.
just
I
couldn't
did
stop
not
fast
touch her.
enough.
I just stopped fast. She went breezing right on by, and that's what youth does.
Yeah, well, you know what? Same game. Your daughter's lining me up, and my son is behind her screaming, "Hit him! Hit him!"
Right?
See what we deal with?
That's what kids are good for.
It was awesome. You know, what a great problem to have, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to skate with my kids. So.
Yeah, it's
stuff.
it's good stuff.
And we really appreciate the contributions you make to their physical well-being.
Yeah,
Very well.
I
It's
had no
my
idea
pleasure.
how important this really was, and I have spent the whole weekend kind of pondering. And what was cool is I get this text message from a hockey mom saying that I can't wait till 6 o'clock to go to the Goose, and I'm like, this is Memorial Day, and it had nothing to do with you. Way to go, Emily, by the way, and Cody, because Cody's actually coming to see you. And
He is. Yep, 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
He's
Nice.
working out with some of the older guys. So.
All right.
Yeah.
And Cody, I've been coaching Cody. I mean, Cody's been at the rink for, 5-6 years. Wonderful kid, and and he puts the time in. So
Yeah.
I think he'll have a blast.
That's
Because
what I
it's
like
his
to
first
see.
time, right?
Yeah, tonight's his first time. So that's kind of the cool part about the gym. It can be different than the ice because the kids, for me, from what I've seen, they always work hard in the gym. There's not really ever a time when they're kind of lazy. And, maybe that's me encouraging them, but the gym is always a time where kids do really work hard, and everybody is usually always in a good mood.
Right.
Sometimes you get kids at practice and they don't really want to be there, and
Yeah.
with the team setting, sometimes that can happen upstairs. But for the most part, everybody's usually in a good mood, especially after the workouts.
Well, and that's an interesting
and-
point. You just brought up the team.
Mhm.
So we can bring up a number of players.
Yeah, I
And-
do
and you'll work
it's
with
group
the team
training.
directly?
Yeah, I've worked with full teams by myself before, which is a lot, but
Right.
I do that. So like Glenn Murphy, he's got a
Yeah.
goalie camp that he's doing in June. I'm doing the strength and conditioning for his camp, and I think he's got at least 10, 12 kids, something like that. And then all my classes are usually like group
Okay.
classes, so I can do individual. If the kid comes and there's nobody else there, it's an individual lesson.
Right.
And sometimes there's 7 kids there. It just depends. So
Yeah.
the programming that I do is based, like I said, I pull a lot of it from CrossFit, and so it's very much CrossFit-y. So it's meant for a group of people.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll post on the podcast down below somewhere how to get a hold of you, because we certainly cannot spell your last name.
That's okay.
So that would be an injustice for everybody.
Pagliazzo!
Yeah, that was great. Excellent.
So with that, we'll call it a wrap. And folks, please enjoy your weekend and remember why we're celebrating. And that's a very special, important thing for our
To those
country.
who've gone before.
To those
we
who've
salute
gone
you.
before. Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you both again for
Very
your
welcome.
service.
Thank you.
And what a blast today. Thank you so much.
Yes, very welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for hosting me.
And that's a cut.